Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thanks for joining us April 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific time for our regular 5 p.m. session where we talk about immigration, U.S. immigration, take your questions live about general educational stuff to help guide you and keep you posted on what's going on with the U.S. immigration system. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And we have a free raffle. Today's going to be a special one. We get 3 people will get free 15-minute consultations. If you're watching, like, comment, only people on YouTube, but like, comment, and then that you like a free consultation. And my colleague will choose one person, tell it to me at a 10-minute mark, 20-minute mark, and 30-minute mark. I'll say one name or two or three names at that point. And just what you have to do is when I say your name, email me, take a screenshot to show that the YouTube page is yours. And so I know it's you that commented, and then we'll schedule a time to talk by video for free. So let's jump into it. All right, everybody, thanks again for joining. We're having questions starting to trickle in from the various channels, and thank you so much for joining. Before we that, I want to let you know that the Department of State has announced that they're opening up the COVID ban situation. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. People who are doing fiance visa cases for China, the EU, Europe, Iran, Brazil, they're prevented from having interviews because there are COVID-19 travel bans against those countries. Department of State has said we removed that for a couple of categories, but in particular, the fiance visa category. There's been major lawsuits about that. I've had videos about that before. However, having said that, just because they said we'll still schedule interviews, it's dependent upon the local U.S. embassy where the interview would happen, whether they will or will not schedule an interview and actually do it. So just because they said they're going to do that doesn't mean they actually are. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. Just because they announce this, don't expect something to pop up all of a sudden that says, hey, you got an interview. Hopefully that is the case. But with my experience I've seen with how the government works, it's not usually that cut and dry. And so, a situation, we have a question from King Moose asking, can he give an update on the National Visa Center? That's the update. They're accepting documents, they're processing it and making it documentarily qualified. But whether you get an interview or not depends on the case, depends on what country you're from, and a whole lot of different factors. So that's about as much as is possibly there. Having said that, people are going to start asking about timelines. Timelines are super inconsistent. Right now, I'm getting work permits approved in 4 months and 11 months. I'm getting I-130 marriage cases approved in 3 months and then a year and a half. I'm getting citizenship cases interview scheduled in 3 months and a year and a half. I'm getting marriage adjustment cases, applying for a marriage green card after 6 months and after 15 months. So there's no consistency. That's why there's going to be no answers to the questions about processing timelines. And the same with biometrics. So let's jump into the questions. Victoria asks, what if your sponsor is your spouse and he cheated and I now want a divorce? How will it affect my case? Well, if you're married and the U.S. person spouse doesn't want to move forward the case, then you're out of luck. They get cancel that case. Now, if there's extreme abuse or physical abuse and that kind of stuff, there's a case called Violence Against Women's Act that may be able to help you to keep the green card, but it depends on your case. You should consult with an immigration attorney in private to discuss that. Andreas asks, can he travel with AP, advanced parole, and domestic flight? Domestic flight, you don't need any immigration status technically to fly domestically. They're not supposed to check immigration status. So if you're flying domestic, and that's a very defined term within the United States and its territories, then yeah, you can fly. You don't need advanced parole, but you have issues sometimes. Imagine you're trying to fly to Florida from Los Angeles, or Los Angeles to Miami, and the plane is not doing well, so it has to do an emergency landing in Mexico. Then you're completely out of luck because you travel internationally without advanced parole. It's rare that kind of stuff happens, and sometimes rarely at the airport, depending on your previous status, depending if you have arrest history and stuff, there could be problems. So I need to know your exact case to say the worst case scenario, but generally it is possible travel. But unless you need to, don't travel. That's why risk it while you're almost at the finishing line. Sherman asks, hi, I'm in removal proceedings, but I got married to a U.S. citizen. What happens to my case? Well, you have to apply for adjustment of status in removal proceedings, but there's problems. One is, did you enter the U.S. lawfully or not? That could be a problem that could, really hurt your case if you didn't. Secondly, when you get married while you're in removal proceedings, there's a higher burden, a higher standard. Removal proceedings is the immigration court to deport you, kick you out of the country. If you get married while you're there, there's more distrust that marriage is real. They don't believe it, so there's a higher standard for them to believe your case. So there's a lot of various things that have to happen. If you're in removal proceedings in general, you have to hire an immigration attorney. The likelihood of success is exponentially higher if you have a lawyer. I don't do removal proceedings myself. I'm not gonna make a dime off that, but really just schedule a consultation with an attorney about that, or 2 or 3, to see what they have to say. Lisa asks, if you lose your passport or visa document and your visa expired in your I-94, what are your options while waiting on the green card? Well, you could always get a new passport from your home country. And if you're waiting for a green card, your visa, that doesn't make any difference. You eventually get advanced parole, you can travel with that. I'm not sure where your I-94 goes into all this. So Lisa, if you're worried about that kind of stuff, schedule a private consultation and we can talk about that. Nadiga said, hello, John, hello to you too. Malik says, can I travel out of the United States while the I-751 is pending? So form I-751 removal conditions is when you married somebody, the marriage is new. After 2 years, you get the green card to file another application, prove that it's real. That form is I-751. Once you get file that I-751, you'll get a receipt, and that receipt acts as an 18-month extension on the now expired green card. So you could travel with the I-751 and the expired green card. Now, if you have any criminal history, if your case is denied while you're out, there's a whole slew of stuff and warnings I have to give. So there's always risks. But generally, it's not a problem to travel as long as you have your paperwork right, you don't have any major issues. It is possible to travel. Can I ask EAD after 6 months while my I-589 is processing? I think they changed the rules for EAD as a work permit. And if you had an asylum case pending, after 5 months you could file for it, after 6 months it could be approved. I think Trump changed it to 1 year. There are court cases on that. They may have undid that. I don't know. I don't handle asylum cases, so I don't have an exact answer on that for you. Abidi asks, hello, sir. I'm a permanent resident, green card holder. I'm married in 2016. I came here to the USA in 1522. I'm not sure what 1522 is, but sure. When can I apply for citizenship? I need to review your case to see what your travel history are. Typically, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, potentially for 3 years, you could do it. But it really depends on your background. I don't know if you can tell people what they can do without knowing their whole case. Musifis, I have a whole video. If you go to Abdi, if you go to JQK Law Firm's YouTube page, there's like a whole 15-minute video where I exactly break down the timelines and how it works for filing for U.S. citizenship. If you're doing the 5-year model, not the 3-year model based on U.S. citizenship to marriage to a U.S. citizen, but you'll get the gist of it there. So check that out. Let's see. Musi asks, a regular, my lawyer has been messing up my kid's case. Should I fire him? I mean, that's up to you. I don't know if, sometimes clients get really frustrated and they accuse their lawyers of messing up stuff, but the lawyer didn't do anything wrong. So I don't know. But if you have lost confidence with your attorney, you got to get a new attorney. It's just nothing wrong with that. You hire somebody, you have to have confidence in them. If they're not, then you got to move forward. That's about it. It depends on your choice and what they're actually doing. Now, a reminder, we're getting a lot more questions about timelines and stuff like that. I want to let you know, I can't answer that question. I don't know your case. USCIS and the Department of State system is very inconsistent. Check out uscis.gov for their unreliable timelines there, but that's the best I can offer you. And also, we're doing a free raffle. Today, we're going to give 3 free 15-minute consultations for people watching on YouTube only. If they like, subscribe, and leave a comment saying, please schedule a consultation, I'll pick a name. I'll pick one soon. My assistant will be posting that. And you'll need to, within 24 hours, take a screenshot that you own that YouTube account so we know it's really you. Email me at info@jqqlaw.com when I give you the time. And if you do it, and I'll mark back and I'll follow up and we'll schedule a time. Victoria asks, he has also been abusive. I recommend throwing me out. So it's a question about a person who has abused spouse. You need to talk with an immigration in your private. This is a really deep situation. It's not good to talk in public forum about something so personal, but you should talk with an immigration attorney about the Violence Against Women's Act, also known as VAWA. All right, but yes, does a derivative beneficiary need to prove primary beneficiary physical presence for 245I? So 245I is a special rule that existed where if you had a case started before sometime in 2001, I remember the dates exactly, it was August 1st or something, then you could potentially, even if you enter without permission or work without permission, still get a green card. There's sub rules within it that talk about physical presence being here on a certain date. If you are within 2 years, it's a complicated formula. There's a primary beneficiary need to show physical presence. I think it is the primary person. I don't remember my 245I exactly whether it's the beneficiary or the primary, and it depends on what year they entered the United States and what year the case was filed. So it's this 245I pops up for me once, twice a year. I have my rules that I sit and do it that I can read, but I don't have it right on top of my head. So I don't want to give you bad advice and answer that question with that exact advice. But you can check it out. Just type in 245 by on the internet. It should be there. Finally asks, I'm on an H-1B. Can I be part of a startup that me and my partners are starting? Well, you can always be an owner of a startup, but unless that startup files for H-1B too and work for them, you can't work for them. As an H-1B, you can only work for the petitioner that submitted your case. So having said that, if you could be a co-owner, have shares in some other company, but you can't work there unless they submit an H-1B for you too. And once you own the company that's filed H-1B, it could get more dicey. So you need to consult with an immigration attorney about that. King Moose asks, are parents of U.S. citizens getting the interviews yet? They are in some places, and some places they're not. They're a travel ban but that went away. So let's see. I don't have any. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know exactly. I don't have any active parents of U.S. citizen cases at this time that are ready to be scheduled for interview. I have 130s pending. Ambrose asks, hi, John. Does my U.S. citizen sister need to include her married adult son and his wife and 2 children who live with us, however, one-person household? Her adult son, my nephew, and his wife live in the same boat, are employed. If you're filing an affidavit of support for a family-based case, there's a form I-864 that talks about household size. But for the household size for the I-864, you only have to list family members if they're participating in the income to show the income requirement for the affidavit of support, or if they're listed on their tax returns as household members, dependents on their tax return. So they live with them, but they're not dependents on the tax return. They're not supporting financially for the I-864. It's not required that you list them. Andreas asks, do you work on cases on green card holders deported for drug possession 17 years ago? No, I don't help with that. Gokhan asks, I passed the N400 interview. It says on the website March 8th. Sure. So you just got to wait for them to schedule an oath ceremony if you pass the test. Sherman asks, I also filed an asylum case as a relief from removal proceedings. My I-130 is approved, and I've been scheduled for a green card interview. If my green card is approved, what happens? Well, you may get the green card, but your removal proceedings, the court has to close the case. Sherman, you got to see whether to file adjustment in the court or if the court will close the case, administratively close it, and let USCIS make a decision on adjustment of status. We got to see what's going on in your case. Okay, so Andreas asks, do you work on green card cases for deport? I don't actually. Gokhan follows up. I passed the N400 interview. Okay, we talked about that already. Sherman asks, Ambry asks, I have a TN, a visa, and I got married more than 2 years ago. Will I be able to work for the whole time while I'm adjusting? If your TN is still valid, then you could do it. But I got to see when you filed the TN and when you filed for adjustment, when you entered the U.S., what the spouse situation is. So it's kind of tricky. You have to see exact information. But when you file for adjustment of status, eventually you get a work permit, so you won't need your TN anymore. And so that's that. I want to ask my assistant, could we get a raffle winner, another person? I won't be able to give that person that listed a case because I don't handle that particular type of case. John Bullock asks, the consulate office is closed. Still, can we ask to U.S. Embassy as opposed to consular office? So we ask to go to the U.S. Embassy, I suppose. The consulate, I mean, it depends on your case. It just depends on your case. Jabber asks, how many times a green card holder travel outside in a year? There's no limitation on how many times a green card holder could travel back and forth the United States in a given year. You just have to remain living here. So if you're outside for too much, especially more than 6 months, especially more than a year, that's when they start doubting that you're really living in the United States, and create problems both for maintaining your green card, not abandoning it, but also for citizenship. That becomes a problem. So there's no number of time limitation. It's just a total number of days you're in and out. Musi asks, does changing your lawyer affect the case? Not necessarily. I mean, you're just getting different kind of help. I need to know the exact details of the case to give you a general answer to be able to answer that. But generally, it doesn't. But I can't specifically say exactly. Maybe there's some weird situation with your case that makes it different. Nadi asks, when they say citizenship pathway, undocumented workers, do they have work permit or not? No, that's something completely unrelated. So when they talk about a pathway to citizenship for undocumented workers, they're probably talking about, they don't say undocumented work, just documented people. They're saying they may get a pathway. So it's not the way you're saying it. Amelia says, hi, John. My online account with USCIS shows my N400 has approximately 13 days for final decision. What does that mean? I applied on a pending So the timeline estimates on USCIS.gov, whether for this case or any other case, are not reliable numbers. So, don't pay attention to what it says. It doesn't mean anything when they say this or that about timelines. Mitchell asks, I'm waiting for my I-751 approval, now getting divorced. I'm sorry to hear that. We were married 4 years, no kids. We got an RFE and my card extension ends. Now should I worry? We just sent more evidence before we talk about divorce. So worry is a low term, but you're in a really bad situation, Mitchell. When you have an I-751 removal conditions case pending and you get divorced midway between, that's very complicated, because if you're not together, living together, and you're separated, but your green card ends up getting approved, then it's incorrectly approved. It could take away your green card, you could lose it, citizenship, they'll find out. You really, Mitchell, need to have a private consultation with an attorney and to review the details of the case and really work on it, because the timing is really bad on what you're going through. So you need private help. Code Balance says, I have filed for adjustment as part of a concurrent filing, married to a U.S. citizen, filed for Form I-751 and didn't submit for advanced parole. Can I still file for advanced parole? Yeah, I mean, you should have done it at the same time. That's one of the things, you file on your own, and the idea is, pay for a lawyer, that's fine. But look, your advanced parole is not gonna come for some time now. That may itself been worth paying for a lawyer to help you. But yeah, you could file for advanced parole, have a receipt for your adjustment of status case in there, submit it. There's no filing fee for I-131, get it in and file for that. Label one asks, good afternoon, I have a question. Can someone who has spent more than 4 years outside the United States, U.S., travel to another country with their green card? Outside the U.S., travel to another country with their green card. What do you mean travel? Why would another country need your green card? So I'm not sure. You might mean come back to the United States. Well, they might put you to court and take away your green card. If you try, the airline might not let you board. So you can give it a shot. I don't have an exact answer because up to the officers you're dealing with. Padilla, is advanced parole for DACA a good idea to adjust in the United States? Well, it's a personal decision. There's risks associated with it. So what happens is with people who have deferred action for child arrival DACA, DACA for short, if they didn't enter lawfully, they could apply for advanced parole potentially, which is permission to travel and come back. And once they come back to that travel, they can maybe file for a green card and adjust status in the United States. Generally, yeah, it's not a bad idea. People love to do that situation. Whether it's appropriate for you, I don't know. But it's a good thing to do if you can, Mrs. G asks, is it possible to add information at your I-130 after it's already at USCIS, spouse U.S. citizen? Because I don't think our form was filled out correctly. If yes, will it make our case restart from zero? I'm only going to email you to my consultation. We're excited. So Ms. G got a free consultation. So we'll talk about that more there. But this question does pop up. I had another consultation previously. So you can update information. It depends on what information you're updating. If it's not that important, I wouldn't recommend doing it because it's going to confuse things. But if it's something important, you can mail it to them. And then when you have an interview, if you have an interview, go and take that and update them as there. But it's always good to update the record if there's mistakes. Depends on what the mistake is and how important it is. The Indian chef asks, my fiance's interview is finally tomorrow after 15 months. So God bless. Congratulations. Thank you so much for all the info on here. Thank you, Indian chef. I'm glad she's good. Your fiance is going to do that. Just be prepared to have all the paperwork and everything ready to go. And hopefully the embassy will not be hard on you. All right. As a reminder, if you want to join the free consultation raffle giveaway, you're a YouTube subscriber. Just subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment saying, free consultation or something like that. Then email me and take a screenshot or image of your to prove that YouTube page, the channel that left the comment is yours. Actually, no, don't email yet. Do that. Leave a request for consultation in the comments. My assistant will then read off one of the names that are posted there, and then I'll ask you to email me with the screenshot once my assistant tells me. So Alicia asks, can you be scheduled for interview for adjustment of status before you get your combo card when you file for both? Yeah. So what happens is sometimes when you file for a green card, you'll apply for green cards, at least an interview in many cases, but also for your travel permission and work permit, which comes in a combo card, so work permit combo card. Sometimes the adjustment interview, because they work on two different timelines, so two different officers are looking at that. So all of a sudden, you could have your green card interview before the combo work permit, travel permission, advanced parole is approved. So yeah, it's possible for that to happen. Before the pandemic, that would happen for me most of the time. Danitor asks, my wife got her H-4EAD. This is a spouse of an H-1B holder, work permit. She made online income with affiliate marketing. When we do file taxes, is it okay to file with Schedule C for her self-employment? Will it violate her H-1 status green card petition? So Dan, Denitra, I don't want to give case specific information because I got to talk about it, but just generally speaking, if you don't have work authorization, you're not supposed to work in the United States. It's a violation. Whether it affects the green card petition, there's a rule called INA 245K that does have somewhat of a waiver of forgiveness for unauthorized employment. But I need to see, there's just too much things that I have to analyze to be able to answer that question. So it wouldn't be appropriate for me to answer a full thing here. Please schedule like a full consultation for that. Chang Bru asks, does a second master's degree with day one CPT impact the marriage green card case? Will I get an RFE if I marry U.S. citizen? So Chang Bru actually emailed me about this, and I described in the email. First day CPT is when you enroll into school and immediately begin working on the first day of enrollment with curricular practical training. The government is cracking down on this. It's still possible to do it. Many people do it, but there's a lot of universities and colleges that offer fake degrees just for the point of giving first day CPT, essentially selling work permits as a scam. And the government has approved a lot of these schools by accident, is not paying attention. So that's why I generally don't like people getting first day CPT because it may look bad in your case. Now, if you got married to a U.S. citizen, there's no reason to get an RFE on that case. If they think you're fraud, they're going to accuse you of fraud, deny your case. So the RFE thing you're worried about is just something that's completely unrelated. It could happen, but it's not related to what you're asking here. But this is deep enough, especially with the marriage case, that I'd recommend scheduling a private consultation. Co-development asks, I overstayed my visa, was working without any permit, paid taxes, now I'm married to a United States citizen. Could this make me inadmissible? So if you're married to a U.S. citizen, overstaying a visa and working without permission is not a problem. That issue is waived, so that's positive in your case. You should download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. I wrote the best ebook on the subject for free. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and you can download that there. But that would not be inadmissible, going back to your question about the work and stuff like that. But if you got a job and you claimed you're a U.S. citizen to get that job, that claim of U.S. citizenship could be inadmissible and subject to deportation. But co-defendant, I'll do this. Email my office, take a screenshot of your YouTube page, email me at info@jqklaw.com, and we'll do a free 15-minute consultation to recap in private what we just talked about and more. So just send me that email, take a screenshot of your name, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, co-development. Elizabeth asks, I have a question for you. My husband petitioned for me. I did biometrics March 18th, and immigration sent a request for evidence, but he is not working now. What I must do to answer my question, please? I don't know, Elizabeth. I got to see what the request for evidence was about, what the situation is about. Maybe you have to get a joint sponsor. There's just not enough information here for me to be able to answer that question. Rashad asks, dear sir, my sister appeared for an immigration visa in the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad in 2019, but still waiting for their visa, whereas her passport has expired. What should she do now? Please answer. Well, she should immediately renew her passport because they need to have a valid passport to issue the visa, and then email the embassy, let them know that you updated the passport. Hopefully that'll cause them to actually issue the visa. We'll see. Live My Life asks, does a C9 EAD renewal get 180 automatic extension? Yes. So C9 EAD is a work permit based on filing for adjustment of status, a green card in the United States. And so if you have that, it's expiring that work permit for a year, and then you need to renew it. Once you renew it, you get the receipt. That receipt will act with the old EAD as a 180-day automatic extension until a new one comes. Emerald asks, where are you located? I'm headquartered in Los Angeles, California, but for the most part, I take cases anywhere in the country. Most of the cases I handle don't require me to show up in person anywhere. Padilla asks, does the petitioner, a wife, have to be working in order to file for a green card? No, petitioner does not have to be working, but you will need someone that's going to accept financial responsibility. So if the petitioner, the spouse, can't complete a proper outfitted support, then you'll need to find a joint sponsor or have a lot of assets, a lot of money that could cover that. Now we have a reminder about timelines. We get this question a lot. How long does this take? How long does that take? It's impossible to answer our question. The immigration department is so inconsistent. In each case, is so different that I just no way I can answer that question honestly, truthfully. So check out USCIS.gov, check out Department of State for averages, but none of that's reliable. At the end of the day, you just have to wait for your case to happen. Rin asks, can you talk about the E1 visa? How many employees do you have to qualify for a green card? Also, if you have buy property in the US, can you qualify for a green card? So, Rin, this is like a super complicated question you're asking. The E1 visa is someone has a foreign company that does most of their trade within the United States and you need to transfer to the United States to run a branch of that office for that internet global trade that's happening. There's no minimum employee count there. If you want to get a green card based on investment, there is a minimum 10 employee count creation of 10 employees. That's the EB-5 green card. It's a completely different program. And just buying property by itself does not lead to any immigration status in the United States. So that's that. Amen asks, my I-485 got approved as adjustment status. Do you think I am now a U.S. permanent resident, or since I did not receive the actual card yet? Well, if they told you it's approved, yeah, you probably are, but you got to wait for the green card. That's the paper proof of it. So I'd wait for that. Now, whether it's a week or two, you usually get in the mail. It doesn't make that much of a difference. And Kyle says, hi, John. Thanks for the question and answer session. You're welcome. I appreciate it. We have only a few minutes left. As a reminder, I forgot to talk about the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. If you're thinking about doing a marriage green card case, download it. It's at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Free. It breaks down everything you need to know. And we're doing a raffle, about to close up. Do our third free consultation giveaway, 15 minutes. Just post on YouTube, like, comment, and post you want a consultation. My assistant will let me know who the person is we've chosen for this 10-minute segment. I'll give you instructions on how to schedule it. Lemon asks, can my brother and mother visit me from Pakistan? I have a green card. Well, they could apply for a tourist visa from the embassy. If they're issued a tourist visa, then they can't come. If they're denied, then they can't. Simple as that. Just make sure they fill out the paperwork, the form DS-160 properly, so that incorrect information doesn't go in the system and become a problem for you later. All right, everybody. Tony asks, Tonya Regular says, good evening. Please stay safe. Thank you for your patience with all of us. You're welcome, Tonya. Thank you for always being so kind and watching the show and supporting the channel. There we go. So we have a couple more questions. We have one, Padilla on TikTok asks, I-601A waiver approval rate according to USCIS. I don't memorize approval ratings and stuff like that. It doesn't really mean anything. Each case is different. So don't look at percentage stuff like that. Each case is different, and it's not something anyone worth their has value for your time is going to memorize. Farhan asks, hi, sir. My wife's green card holder of USA. Applied my case, I-130 2019 to sent in Pakistan, working in Dubai. Still not received welcome letter. Please advise. Well, your I-130 has to be approved. If you feel like it's taking long, check out the USCIS timelines and complain to your local congressperson. I need to see what's going on in your case, see what's going on. 29 Super asks, what would you advise on how to expedite an EB-3 case, that's a employment-based case, at a consular office if an invitation letter from embassy has been issued, now been issued to the applicant? I mean, you need to have a special reason. If you want to do an expedite, you got to contact the National Visa Center or embassy with evidence that you have an emergency situation that requires an expedite. But other than that, you just got to wait. Freddie asks, hi, my wife's I-601A waiver fees were refunded. They said they don't affect the position of the case and they processing. What do you know about this? Thanks. I don't know, Freddie. I got to review your case to see what's going on. I don't have an answer for you on that. I have to see exactly what they said in their response and what you told them. So it's not something that I can't answer here. So one more question we'll get, and we'll end it for today. So if you're going to ask, my I-751 extension is expiring soon. What should I do? Can I apply for citizenship? Well, generally, when I have clients who have an I-751 pending and the citizenship time comes, I have them apply. But I have to know your particular unique case to see whether you're sufficiently okay to do that. Like, for example, have you been in the U.S. long enough? Have you been married to U.S. citizens? All this kind of stuff. We potentially can file if the I-751 is expiring soon, and you need proof of status for work permit to travel. Then you got to get an I-551 green card stamp in your valid passport. So that's about it. Thank you all for joining us today. That's about it. We'll be back here as always Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time to take your questions and see how we can help you with this information. If you have a need for a private consultation, email me at info@jqqlaw.com and let me know your question briefly so we see if some office handles and we can schedule a paid consultation. Farhan, thank you for the kind words. Nadiga, thank you as well. God bless you. Rena Super, you're welcome. Thank you as well. All sorts of kind words. If you had time and if you wrote these kind of words, feel free to go to Google, type in jqqlaw.com or jqqlaw and leave a nice review, just 5 stars. You don't have to say anything, but it always helps out. All right, everyone. God bless. Till next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.